we're going to start in the US, where the Department of Transportation says it is going to ban all Chinese flights to and from the country from June the 16th. Now, US airlines have been seeking permission to resume their flights to China after suspending them due to the pandemic, but they say it hasn't been granted. Or has it? In just the last hour, China's moved to ease those restrictions slightly at least. And it comes amidst these worsening relations, of course, between the two economic superpowers over the last few days, part of a much bigger story nonetheless. But there have been rows over coronavirus, Hong Kong threatening to upset the truce in what has been their two-year trade war as well. Let's reflect on that. Chris Campbell is chief strategist at the business advisory firm Duff Phelps, formerly Assistant Secretary of the US Treasury in the Trump administration. And Chris joins us from Tampa in Florida. Chris, great timing too. Just perhaps the sign of a little bit of give here from the Chinese authorities. There are lots of ifs and buts around the possibility of a return of some flights. Is it going to make a difference?
Look, I hope so. I think it's, hope always springs eternal. This clearly was a move by the U.S. administration to get leverage on China to make sure that they treated the U.S. carriers the same way that the Chinese government was hoping that we would treat their carriers with access to the U.S. markets. And so, this is, if this move does materialize into again, the two-way trade and movement of people between the two countries, it's a significant move in the right direction.
It would point, would it, possibly, to a suggestion that the hardball approach which President Trump has tended to go for with China — I think there are another 30-plus Chinese companies added to the blacklist. We know about the Huawei situation. Good. I mean, it's a long list, let's be honest. But it would suggest, perhaps, that sort of arm wrestling he believes still works.
Well, the president has a very unique approach when it comes to negotiations, but does love to negotiate. And it did lead to a phase one deal here in the United States with China, which, former administrations have not yet been able to do. And so, I think that the Chinese government was comfortable with and the cadence of the former administrations, be them Republican or Democrat. President Trump did bring in, has a very unique and different style and completely different way of negotiating. This is not typically the American way, and it really has yielded some results. But in contrast, we've also seen statements by Chinese state media suggesting that we could be on the brink of a Cold War as well. And so it's always a very delicate and difficult challenge. China is.
It is, Chris. Sorry, just very quickly then. What do you think about the chances of that phase one deal actually surviving this continuing tension?
I'm concerned about it. I think that you're going to see a ramp up bipartisanly, both Republicans and Democrats in the United States, against China all the way throughout this year. There's been a lot of concern about the lack of transparency, which led to the worldwide COVID-19 pandemic. Many people in the United States believe that if China were more transparent, that we would have been able to get our arms wrapped around the virus earlier and faster, and which would have lessened the challenge we've had in the United States, and certainly lessened the amount of money that we've had to invest.
Yeah.
The President of the United States demanding that China pay for that money. And and some serious moves, and perhaps even delisting Chinese companies from our trading.
Yeah, still a lot of uncertainty to wade through there. Chris, thank you very much indeed for joining us. Chris Campbell. We're going to stay with the issue of China and those tensions because the UK-based